right, everybody, welcome to this training. In here, I'm gonna go step by step how you can use Camtasia Studio to edit your videos a lot easier, but more importantly, a lot faster. This has been my go-to software for a long period of time, and trust me, I can edit any video in here in no time, and more matter of fact in a record time. So if you want to learn a software in which you can edit your video without having to worry about, like, oh my god, it's so confusing, and I don't know this, and this particular software makes it super easy, as you will see as we walk through this. And without any further ado, because I don't want to build this up so much and they're like, oh my god, get to the point already. So because I want you to have this knowledge of editing it right away. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So the first thing, obviously, right, if you don't have this software, you will have to download it. And then what you do is you could just Google it, just type it Camtasia Studio, any one of your search engine, whether it be a Google, Bing, Yahoo, AOL, if it still exists. Just do it, and then you will come up, and then over here you could just right click, which I normally do, just open up another tab. As you can see, I already had it open, and you could download the free trial, and I think they give you 14 to 30 days of free trial, and then you should be able to just download it. And then the software, this particular software, you can use it in Windows or Mac. So this is compatible with both of them. And then download it, and the download process is simple. You click on it, downloads it to your PC or Mac, and then go to the installation process like you would if you would go download and install any software that you have. So I'm not going to go to that process because I think it's pretty damn simple. Anyone can install any software as long as you're able to download it, right? So let's say from this point moving forward, you have downloaded it, you installed it, and you clicked on the button to open it up. And once you open this up, the very first time, you will see a screen something similar to this. And we will go through each one of this screen setup and all that stuff. But before, I want to walk through one important thing, which will be your folder structure. And this is the system that I use, and this is the system that I teach other people who want to learn to edit their videos very easily, efficiently, and be organized. So open up, create a folder on your desktop, anywhere, and then within the folder, you have these 1, 2, 3, 4 folders in one file. And let's walk through it. Why do I have this structure? So in here, I have the very first one, which is the raw, pretty much, videos. And here, whatever videos you have, whether it's a A-roll, B-roll, some people call it whatever name you want to call that, all your videos for the videos you want to edit, they go in this video folder. And then if you took any pictures that you want to use it, include it into your video, you can put them in here. And then any audios that you have that you want to use for your video, when you are doing a B-roll or A-roll and you have a background music, you just put it in here. And then the final will be when you are done with your editing, you will have this file in this folder. So, and let's move on. So one more file in here. What I normally do is, let's say if you are creating a video for your YouTube channel, so whatever title that you want to give this video, you could type in here, and whatever description you want, you type it here. So pretty much when you're ready to go to YouTube, you just come back to this particular file, copy the title, put in here, copy the description, you put in here, and you can move on. So this is literally the system that I use and I teach other people to use to create their videos, whether it'll be for your YouTube, whether it'll be for promotion, whether it'll be for your course, does not matter. You could literally use the system. I use this system for exact system for everything that I do, whether it be YouTube, like I said, course, or any other video for that matter. So let's move on. So the video that we are going to be editing which will be this edited my intro video. And then I have a couple of pictures that we are going to be incorporating into this particular project, and I'll show you how you can use these pictures, incorporate it into your project, in your video project, see if it makes it a big difference and how you can make a big difference, right? And then I have some audio files already saved up in here, and also I will share with you the resources that I use for all my video editing, where I go and get my audio for the video that I want to upload it to YouTube, so that way I don't have to worry about all this crap of copyright. That's right, because if you put it in there, any music, and then you get copyright strike, and that will not help your channel out. And I will share that with you and as we move forward. And then in the final, obviously, whatever file that we have, we put in here. And the notes, we went through it. So this is the exact system that we are going to be using moving forward. And what I'll do is I'll pause for a second for you to just copy this structure. If you want to go on and create these folders, you do that, and I'll pause for a second. If you want to, like, hey, I need more time, just pause the video, and then when you're done, you play it and move forward. All right, let's move forward to walk through our Camtasia software that we just installed. So when you first install, like I said, you're gonna see screens similar to that. At first, you'll be like, what the hell is this, right? Obviously, if you saw something for the very first time, you'll be like, what the hell is this? So let me walk you through some of the most important things that you're going to be using, that's going to help you speed up your video editing process, because there's a lot, but you don't have to use a lot to get from point A, which means you have all your video, to point B, which means you have a final file that you can utilize for whatever reason that you have. And just for the sake of simplicity, I will assume we are going to use this particular video and upload it to YouTube. So moving forward, that's what we are going to be using, assuming the final product will be uploaded to YouTube. So having said that, there's going to be a whole bunch of options on the left-hand side, starting from media, library, annotation, transition, behavior, so on and so forth. At first, you're like, oh my God, these are a lot. But like I said, I will make sure by the time you're done with it, you're going to be able to use only a handful of this and have it create a video. So let's say if you want to import a video file in here, so that way you can use it. So what you can do, there's a handful of ways. You can click on this import media button, and that will open up a dialog box, and you can go navigate to wherever you have your video or your picture file or audio file imported in here. However, another way what you can do is, since you have this structure, you can go to your video, you can literally just hold it and drag it and drop. So this becomes your video. And then you could do the same thing with your picture files or your assets. Just select all of them, you drag them in here, and they all line up here. And then for your audio, let's say I want to use this one. Well, let me hear it, see which one. Let's say if I want to use this one, just drag and drop. It's very simple. And that way you have all your structure in here, like I said, and then everything is organized. So you just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, and that's that. So let's move forward. So this will be all of your media bin, or all your asset files will be right here. Then right next to, on the right hand side, this is what I call your theater screen, or your preview window, I think is a better terminology. And then on the right hand side of your preview window, this is where your properties of the file that you are going to be using. There are going to be certain things that will be enabled when you go through it. So for other words, if you use a video file, there's some things that will show up for video, and then you have audio, then some things will show up for audio. And then underneath, right over here, this is what I call as the timeline, where, as you can see, right from left to right, there are time stamps that are labeled in here, and this is where it's going to be. So let's say if you want to drop something to your timeline, says this is your media bin. Go to your media bin. You literally just left click, hold it, and then drag it and then drop it here. And then whatever you drop here is going to be showing up in your preview window, which is right here. And then this is what they call as a playhead. As you move this back and forward, you will realize and see, more importantly, right over here in your preview window, things move. And you're like, oh, this was great, so I can actually do it. You can move it going through this playhead, or you could just literally click on this play button and it will start playing it. And obviously, if you want, you can go forward frame by frame. You can go back frame by frame. But if you have another video clip, for example, just for sake of argument, I'll just use the same clip, drop it here. So I have two different clips. I have, let's say, clip number 1, clip number 2. So if I want to go to, let's say, next clip, I can click on this, and this will just go to my next media at the end of it. And if I play it, it's going to play again. And let's say if I have it here in the middle of it, I want to go to the previous media, which will be right here. I just click on this. So this is just same like basic stuff. So if I'm in the middle of it, as you probably noticed it, if I click on here, it's going to bring me the beginning of my clip. If I click on it again, it's going to take me to the beginning of that clip, so which will be that. So I'm going to delete this. So this is how you can import your asset, media, picture, video, and your audio, and then you can preview it here, and then you drop it into your timeline. So far, pretty good, right? I paused that for a second because I want you to think like, yeah, this is pretty good. Very easy to do. Nothing complicated about it, right? So that's what I want to do. I want you to enjoy this editing process to the point where, like, when you are done with capturing whatever video you're capturing, you're like, yes, now enjoy the editing, and it shouldn't be that time consuming. If you're spending more than an hour in your editing, then you are wasting time. You should not spend more than an hour in the whole process of editing, right? So let's move on. So let's say you have this clip right over here, and you're like, hey man, I want to cut this. So before I cut this, I will let you listen to it. So let me play it. So you play it obviously with this play button. As soon as I click on this, it will stop playing, and then it will have the pause change to play. This play will be changed to pause. If you want to click on it, you could just click on pause and it'll play it just like anything else, right? So here we go. All right, great. So we have this on the timeline, which is track 1. So let's say if we want to zoom in, which means we want to see more of this, because this whole thing, as you move your playhead, you will start to see the numbers right over here. It starts changing. And at the end of it, it will tell you how long is that. This is like 11 seconds long, this particular clip. And you will see right over here as well. So let's say if you want to say, by 9 seconds, anything after 9 seconds, you no longer want to see. So how do you do that? This is your zoom in effect, in which you can just click on this, and as you will see, this whole thing just got wider. And now it just will break it down into like a millisecond. Well, this is your 1 second, and then within the second, you have another second. So breaks it down to like a half a second, quarter of a second. And if you want to zoom in even further, you can go even like really down to, I think, like a 1/10 of a second or something. So let's see. Yep, 1/10 of a second, I believe. And then it goes up to here. This is 1 second. So let's say, for example, I don't want to zoom in this much. So let's say, for example, my video comes in, load comes in, the picture comes in, and after that, from this point on, it's just like a music, yada, yada, yada. So if I want to, if after all of this, let's say after each second, let's see, right there. After this, anything right of it, I no longer want to see. I want the video just end right there. So how do you do that? You just move your playhead to wherever you no longer want to see on the right or left of it. And then once you have the playhead, so this particular line indicates like this is where you want to cut it. Cut it meaning you just want to put a line into it so you could just have two separate tracks. Because right now these are one track, all of it. So it's all one line. So let's say over here, you want to say from this point on, I want to divide it. And how would you do that? It's very simple. I'll show you the menu way to do it, and I'll give you a shortcut as well. So the menu way to do it is you click on this little click paper cut thingy right here, and as you hover your mouse over it, it will give you an option. If you press the keyboard S, it will split. So you're splitting one track into two different tracks. So I'm just gonna click on this just to show you illustration wise. And then what I will do is now I have this, rather before it was one, now it's two. I could just literally move this around anywhere I want to. And if I want to delete it, I just left click select it and then press the delete key on my keyboard, and this will go away. So now all of this will be there. So let's say hypothetically after this, I want to add some pictures or some other assets. So what do I do? So let's say if I want to add this picture, I can literally just drag this onto the timeline right over here and then just drop it, and then it just fills it in. And then let's say I have this picture like, oh, this is kind of nice. I don't want this picture to fill in the whole preview window. I just want it to be like just part of it, not the whole thing. So what you can do is you could just click on the picture, and then you could literally just shrink it any size you want, like this. That's pretty cool. So let's say you want to do this, and then if you want to move it around, you just move it around any which direction you want to move it around. Just remember, when you go this black box right here, if you move outside of the black box, like say right here, this is your picture, you moved it out, anything that is being shown in the black box is what is going to be your output. Meaning when you're done with your video and you're like, hey, I want to show this, this is what's going to show in your final video. So at the moment, only this part of the picture will be shown. So if you want to show the whole picture, make sure you fit it within the black box. All right. And as I said before, when you have, depending on whichever media you have in the black box or on the timeline, the properties will be shown. And then over here, as you can see, you could scale, you could zoom in, zoom out kind of thing. It's kind of neat. You could do that, or you could just show it this way, manual way of doing it, whichever which way you want to. But if you want to rotate it, you could rotate it by going over here. Let's say over there, you go crazy if you want. And then you could do all kinds of things. So you could do it manually, move around, or you could use the dials over here, which is, pretty cool. So let's move on. So let's say you have this one picture, and now you're like, hey, it will be kind of neat when this picture shows up. I want it to show up on the left-hand side, then on the right-hand side, some kind of a text that will show up. And how would you add a text over here? What you do is you go to where it says annotation, and then it gives you a whole bunch of options. And then under styles, you can show all of them, so that the whole bunch of this are like so many different styles options you could do. There's one just with the regular text, then one with the arrow pointing, and then cloud, so on and so forth. So let's say, for example, we want to use the arrow one. And then what you do is you select the arrow, and then you drag it over here. And you're like, okay, this is great, but I want the text to be over here. So let's say if you want to flip the arrow pointing the other direction, what you do is you just do this, and then you can rotate it if you want. It's simple enough. So you're here, let's go here, let's go here. And while on this thing is over here, which is a visual property, like you are able to rotate the pictures, you could rotate the text. So here we go. Pretty cool, right? So this is your text. It's right here. So if you want to make it a little smaller so it kind of stands out, and let's say I want to do a little more right right there is good, I think. And then within this, you could just double click on it, type it, and you can call it Mark or something like that, or whatever you want to type, right? So this is what it's going to be. So let's play this, see how it looks. And you probably notice when it jumped from here to here, it just kind of like pops up. That is something that sometimes doesn't look all that great. But if you're like, hey man, I want to make it look cool, I want it to transition into it, so it kind of fades into it, so I don't have to like, oh my god, looks a little unpleasing to that. It just pops up, boom, boom, right? So how do you do that? So if you want to apply any kind of transition effect, you go right over here on the left hand side where it says transition, or you can just press the keyboard on your keyboard, the letter T. The transition will come up. If you hover your mouse over it, you will see all the different kind of transitions you can apply from one clip to another clip. So this will be a little drastic one. So let's apply this one. So let's say if you want to apply this one, what do you do is just hold it, left click, and you drag it between your two different tracks. Two different media. So you have here. So let's say if you want to move it up a little right there, that's good. So let's watch this. How does this look? I think you're going to be pretty pleased with it. Like voila, there we go. So how cool is that as compared to when we had it before, where we just like boom, done it there. And also another thing you probably noticed that is that we have track one. So far we have been working on track one, and then we had this call out all of a sudden, right? And that was on track two. And then if you want to create more track, which means you can layer it on top of another. So this will be layer one, this will be layer two, and layer three, so on and so forth. If you want to add another one, you could just right click and then insert a track above or below, or you could just simply go to your media bin. Literally, let's say if you want to add this, you could just literally drag it and drop it anywhere you want. Literally, you could drop it here. You can go above, down, below, wherever you want, right? So let's say I want to leave it right there, for example, right? And then I could just move this around right over here. And then you're like, oh my God, that looks ugly, because you have a picture right here. And then a few seconds later, we have another picture that pops up, and that doesn't look pleasing. So let's say if you have a picture behind it, you only want it to show for X amount of seconds. And after X amount of seconds, you're like, I don't want to see it anymore. Let's move on to the next picture. So how do we do that? So let's move this over here. And let's go to the point, let's say if we want to up until 10 seconds, it will show there. And then what do? You select this. You just go at the bottom of at the end of this particular clip. Once you put your cursor, you will see two arrows pointing. You just literally drag it, and that's it. And then over here, you can come back and then drag it over to the 10-second mark, and then life is good. And you could do the same thing here, where like only want to show it for 2 seconds. So maybe up to here, and then if you want, you could just drag this up, drag this below, and then drag this down, and then maybe up to here. You're like, hey, I only want to show this when this person's name, I don't know, I'm just gonna have another call out. Let's just put another call out here when you go to here. So let's go to annotations. Let's pick a different one. I don't know, let's pick this one and drag this over here. We'll call this Mike. I don't know. I'm just picking names. You could type whatever you want. So this will be it. So we'll just say drag this, make it smaller, only up until here. Let's go back to our media bin. So we'll pick this particular picture, drop it here, and then only show it to, let's say 14 seconds maybe, or 12 seconds. Let's say only up till here. And then we go to our annotations. As you can see where this is going. So this time around, we're going to pick a different one. So let's go here. This comes, move this here. So I'll literally drag this, double click on it, and we'll pick Bill. And then make this smaller, drag this around. Here we go, boom. And now let's play this out and see how does it look so far. All right, so far it's starting to look pretty decent, but one thing that is missing, so up until here, there's a music. As soon as it goes to here, there is no music. And let's say if you want to add a music, how do you do that? You probably guessed it right about now. So let's go to media, let's pick out music. And by the way, another thing I want to show you is, before I go to the music part of it, is that if you want to preview any one of these, right? So let's say you want to preview this. You just double click on it. Let me do it again. You could just double click any of the audio or video and it'll give you a preview. And if you want to listen to the music, double click on it. All right, that's awesome. So let's say if we want to use this particular music right here. So what do you do is, take a wild guess, what are you gonna do? That's right, you just literally drag it and drop it here. And let's listen to this and see how it goes. All right, so it's looking a little better. The only downfall is when it goes from here to here, there's a transition, but when we go from this picture to this picture, it just like pops up. So we don't want that. So let's fix this first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of them, and you do that by drawing a rectangle. So both of them are highlighted. And how do you know if they're highlighted? Because they have a yellow circle or rectangle or rounded. You literally just drop it down. And then for the callout, you do the same thing, drop this down. And then we have here. So now you're like, hey, because I moved this, I have a one extra track here. And you're like, I really don't want this track here. And because you're the kind of person who like to keep things organized, if not, then maybe you should, because it will help you out. So what you do is you right click and then you can say remove all empty tracks. All empty tracks. So what it's going to do is going to remove anything that has nothing on it. Oh, so let's do one thing before we will fix this audio part of it. So let's apply a transition effect between this picture and this picture and this. So let's go to our transitions. Let's apply another one. So if you hover your mouse over it, you will see a preview of what that transition is. So let's do a page roll. Let's put that over here. And let's pick another one. I don't know, open doors, I think it is. So we'll stretch it, just stretches it out. Spiral. Let's say what? Let's pick this one, put it over here. So let's play this out and see how it looks. All right, now we are making some serious progress here. But the problem that we have is like we have this music track, which is a lot longer than our slideshow, our video. So what we can do is we can either cut it right here, but when we have our playhead, and then we can press the X key, S key, not an X, but S, and this will cut it. And then we have this two separate tracks. So that's one way to do it. So let's Control Z it, and then that will undo it. Another way to do it is you could literally come back here and then just go down and then squeeze it in. So from here, and then you can squeeze it in. It's your choice. However you want to do it. I personally like, it varies for me. I could use one or the other, but depending on what I'm doing, I'll just either cut it and just delete it if no longer needed, or I can squeeze it in. The good thing about squeezing in it, which means it's just compressing it, is that let's say you want to have another picture, and I'll just pick this one, and you drop it over here. If you squeezed it, you can open it back up. As compared to if you cut it, then you have to re-import that same music file again, which could be pain in the butt. So it's your choice. You can cut it by moving the playhead here, and you could press S or click on this icon, which is splitting it. But I personally recommend you use the squeeze part, which will give you a future proof in case you want to add more to the timeline. So that would be it. So let's see how does this whole thing look. So what I notice is that when I go from this transition to this, there's a small gap right there. So what I can do is I can just squeeze this in here, squeeze this in here, maybe a little longer here, so there is no gap whatsoever here. And another thing what you can do, which is a lot easier, and this is just to get you started quickly and easily. And let's say, for example, you have this music in here, but you don't want it to be like 100% volume. You only want it to be like a very, very brief, very low key kind of thing. So you can click on this audio track, and then you will see this particular green line. And then you can literally just drag it down. As you drag down, you'll notice that there is a percentage that goes down, down, down. That means only 50%. It will play up until the far as the volume goes. And if you want to go to 30%, 20%, so on and so forth. So let's see what it sounds like at 25%. So here we go. Let's listen to it one more time. Let me zoom out. So here we go. All right. So far, we are making great progress. So let's continue with this great progress. And I want to show you something even cooler. So let's say you have this video track, which has audio built into it. But for sometimes in your editing processing, you may not want to use that particular audio of that particular video. Let's say you have a B-roll and there's a sound in there and you're like, I don't want that sound. How do I not use that sound in that particular clip? So what do you do is you can right click and then click on where it says separate audio and video. Separate audio and video. And what that's going to do is it's going to have the video, well, depending on where you have it, it's going to have the video part at the bottom. Then you have the audio part at the top. And if for some reason you no longer want to use this audio, you could just click on, for now, disable the track by doing this. So if I play it now, it's going to have no audio whatsoever. It's like magically the audio just disappeared. Right. That's pretty cool. So because we use that squeeze method and not cut, so what we can do is we could just go to move this particular track all the way to the front. And now when we play this, we will have the same audio track throughout the whole video. So here we go. Let's listen to it now. There you go. And that was fairly easy, wouldn't you say? And obviously this is a very, very simple and easy clip in which, you know, not a lot going on. But if you can do this and master this particular system that I just shared with you, trust me, you are going to be well off on editing your YouTube videos a lot faster. So let's say we made this video. Now we are ready. We're like, okay, this is final. I want to export it out as a one video file so I can upload it to YouTube. So what do you do is after that, we click on the share button right over here and then click on local file. And then what I recommend if you want to upload it to YouTube, obviously have it up to 1080p and then click on next. And then wherever you want to save it, let's say I want to save it to my desktop. And then there's a folder. Where did it go? There we go. and then we're going to put it into the final, and then we can name this whatever we want. For now, we'll just name it that, and then click on finish, and it will start the process part depending on how big of your file it is, because obviously this is a very small file and the file is already done. And there it is in my file, so I'll just take this out. So here it is, and this is only 2 meg because the full file is very small. So let's listen to it, our final product. All right, so that's how you take the video. Now what you gotta do is take this video, go to YouTube and upload it. And because you have this filled up, you could just literally copy and paste and off you go. And another thing, what I want to share with you is, let's say you have this video that you are going to upload it to a YouTube channel, but you also want just the audio part of it as well for your podcast or for some other reason, whatever purpose you want to use it for. You can extract the only audio part of it by going to share and then export audio only. And then from there, it gives you an option as a wave, but you can obviously change it to MP3, and then MP3 will be just used. So let's say if I go here, go here, go here, and then save it, and then we'll export it. And then if I go to my file, I have my video MP4, and then I have my MP3, and that's it.